Welcome to the Heal, Thrive, Dream podcast, where trauma survivors become healthy thrivers. Each month, we'll feature a theme in the trauma recovery and empowerment field. To promote your recovery, healing, and learning how to build dreams, here's your host, Karen Robinson, transformational coach and therapist.
Hello, welcome to the Heal, Thrive, Dream podcast. Today, our guest is Dr. Denise Moore Revel. She is Own Your Amazing Coach. She's also a best-selling author, international speaker, thought leader, business coach, and founder of a personal development company. She empowers individuals and entrepreneurs globally to embrace their potential and create purpose-driven lives. Through her unique coaching approach, books, and seminars, Dr. Denise inspires people to overcome their limiting beliefs and achieve their dreams. Her company offers diverse products and services, including online courses, workshops, and one-on-one coaching. Her greatest fulfillment comes from witnessing her clients' transformative success as they step into their power and owning their amazing. So welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So your bio is awesome. I love that. We have a lot of overlap in our businesses. That's really good. I always feel like people say, why would you bring on people in your podcast that could be your competitors? I'm like, there's so much work to be done. There's so much work. There's so much need for us. We could never be without. We could never run out of clients to help. So I'm really happy to collaborate with you. And thank you again for being on my very first summit, Finding Peace After Trauma. It was wonderful to have you.
And thank you so much for the opportunity. It was really great. I did have an opportunity to listen to some of the other speakers, so it was a great summit. Congratulations to you for doing it. I know it was a lot of work. I did one years ago, so I know the work that goes into doing something like that. So kudos to you for doing it.
Thank you. And I did appreciate you coming and presenting. It was wonderful. So tell me more about your business and your particular coaching philosophy. I know. I just remembered. Aren't you also a speech pathologist?
I am.
Yeah. So how are all these connected? I know you said it on the summit, the connection, but share it with the podcast audience.
Absolutely. So yes, I am a speech pathologist or speech therapist. I've been doing that for over 28 years now. And so I literally help people find their voices. I work with helping people to communicate. And some of my clients have been people whose voices have been compromised, meaning I've worked with people who had throat cancer, who had, traumatic brain injury or a car accident that resulted in them losing their voices. And so that's my work. That's been my work for many years. But over the last, maybe 7 to 8 years, kind of extended that and helping women to quote unquote find their voices. Because I find that a lot of women, including myself at the time, and still sometimes, was not living out loud. I was hiding. I was playing small. I was not showing up as my authentic self. And so I was not using the power of my voice. So the work that I do now with Own Your Amazing, it's really an extension of that work and helping people to really tap into who they are and stand in their personal power and to really live out loud. Whatever that out loudness is for you, really tap into that and discover that for yourself.
Very good. And so I imagine some of the trauma survivors that come your way, they are struggling with maybe some limiting beliefs based on the pain that they've gone through. How do you get them past those limiting beliefs?
Oh, that's a big question. And it's a big task. But when I start with any person who works with me in terms of my personal development, the first question that I ask them is that, who are you for you? A lot of times we define ourselves by what other people say. How should I look? How should I be? What should I wear? All these different things. And we don't know it for ourselves. We listen to so many different voices that we rarely hear our own. And so I asked them, like, who are you for you? How do you define you? And for a lot of women, that's a hard question to answer because they have not taken the time to be really reflective and like, well, who am I for me? Like, what do I want? What's going to make me happy? What fills me up? Because again, that was my story. I did everything everyone told me to do, make good grades, go to college, get a great job, all these things, but I still wasn't happy and fulfilled because I wasn't listening to me. I've been on this journey of self-discovery, like, well, what makes Denise happy? Who is Denise for Denise? Not who's everyone saying I am. Who is Dr. Denise? What does that mean to me and for me? And so that's what I invite women to do is take a minute to pause and say, well, who are you for you? And once they start there, and that is where the journey starts. And also that's where the life really begins for a lot of women because they stop allowing other people to define them for them. And they start living for themselves, making decisions based on what they want and how they want to show up in the world. And so to answer your question, yeah, it's a lot of limiting beliefs that we have to work through, even in defining who we are for ourselves. One example I give, one of my first clients, she was an attorney. And so she had been an attorney at a prestigious law firm in Washington, D.C., had done great, but she didn't want to do that anymore. But she had defined herself as an attorney. That's who she was. That's who she is. That's how she showed up in the world. That's who she was to her family, to her friends, to her community. But she didn't want to be that anymore. And she was having a hard time letting that go. And so we worked through that. And so now she's a wellness coach for women in high stake positions, attorneys. She works primarily with attorneys, but I helped her on her journey to say, well, what do you want to do? She said, I want to help other women like me who want to do it differently. I say, okay, let's do that. And so again, it starts with defining who you are, working through a lot of those limiting beliefs that we all have and that we have to work through if we want to live an amazing life.
Very cool. So I don't know if you know this about me yet, but I'm an avid reader. So I'm really curious about the part of your bio where you say you're a best-selling author. Tell me, how many books have you written? What are their titles? What are they about generally?
Yeah. So let me give you the backstory of the book. Again, dealing with limiting beliefs. So the story of the book was I never thought I would be an author. That was never anything on my radar. So growing up in school, I was doing well in school, but writing was always an issue for me. It was always an area of struggle for me. Everybody has their thing. I was great in math, but when it came to writing, not so much. And so when I was in high school, my high school English teacher, I think I was in 12th grade by that time, he called me to his classroom because we had written some papers and things. And he told me that I was one of the worst writers he had ever had.
Oh.
Yeah. So that little bit of confidence that I had in my writing went right out the window. So it was no way I was going to be a writer. So, went to college, did my thing. I ended up having writing tutors and support for that because it was a challenge for me. And so fast forward, I started On You Amazing, and my coach, I have a coach, a business coach, suggested that I write a book to tell my story. And my immediate response was, no way. I am a terrible writer. I am not writing a book. Not me. But again, you're talking about limiting beliefs. I had carried that since high school.
Yep.
Yeah. And so she said to me, my coach know how to get me in my heart, right? She know I have a heart for people, to serve people. And she said, but what if your story, your book, could help at least one person? Would you write it? And I was like, yeah, I'll write it. I'll write it. So it wasn't, again, a thing I thought I could do and would do. So I ended up hiring a book coach to help me through the process of writing the book. And we got through it, and it was time for me to launch the book. And immediately I said, no way. I am not going to release this book. No way, no how. Because again, what my English teacher had flooded back into my head. Oh, you're a terrible writer. Nobody wants to read what you wrote. Who wants to hear your story? Right? And then I remember, okay, what if I can help one person? So I wrote the book and I released the book. And shortly after, it became a #1 bestseller on the list. And shortly after, my book was nominated for a book award. And the category was self-help, personal development, right? And so I didn't win, but I was one of the finalists of thousands of people my book was one of the finalists. I was a top 5 finalist in the category. And what I'm most proud about is they weren't looking at how many books you sold or all these things. They were looking at whose book was trying to make an impact. And I was a finalist. And so again, it was one of those things I never saw coming, but I was open to it. And so the book is called Own Your Amazing, Discover the Power to Create an Amazing Life That You Love. It's about what you want, discover your own power, right? And so it is on Amazon and all that great stuff. But again, I tell that story for other people to be encouraged, to be inspired, to say, yeah, get rid of those limiting beliefs because you never know what's possible for you if you're willing to really go for it. So the book um, has been something that I'm proud of in the sense of the impact that I know it has made on at least one person's life. And I'm most proud about that. And so real quickly about the book, it's about owning your amazing. One of the first chapters in the book is called Divine Design. I believe we were created by a divine, intelligent being for purpose and on purpose. And so I start there. To me, that's the foundation. Again, who are you for you? And so I talk about how I believe we're here not by accident, but on purpose and for a purpose. And our job is to discover what that is. So I start there, like looking within. And I talk about in that chapter about how we are all these amazing creations, but we don't know it. We don't own it. Like I was told, I didn't own it. And so I invite the reader to own that you are a divine, unique, amazing creation. On the planet now, I think it's like 8 billion people, and there's no one exactly like you or like me. I think that's amazing. I think that is amazing. I'm it and you're it. And it's like, if we don't show up understanding that, then we're not showing up in our unique personal power. No amount of mistakes or shortcomings or imperfections that we think we have is going to devalue that. We are still amazing beings. And so that was the book, what the book is, the crux of the book is about. And the other chapters talk about who do you surround yourself with, confirming your own brilliance. A lot of times we wait for outside confirmation, affirmation. When are you going to look at yourself and say, I am amazing? I am good enough. I am smart enough. I am enough. So we talk about that. And then being around people who are going to celebrate you, not tolerate you. Talk about that. Like who are you surrounding yourself with? I surround myself with people who think I am pretty darn amazing. And I make sure that I my family, my friends, I'm always letting them know that you can do it. You're amazing. You got this. We need people to cheer us on. And so a lot of people have a hard time moving forward because of the people that they surround themselves with. It's like a lot of people who speak negativity over them. It's like it's hard enough to move forward. But when you have people that are, saying mean things to you and not affirming your amazingness, it's hard. So I encourage people to find people who are going to celebrate you, who are going to see your value, who's going to see your worth, and be glad that you showed up. And so then in the last part of the book, it just talks about understanding that we are special, we are a niche, and meaning that we are all created for a reason, my own purpose and for a purpose. And who are we here to serve? I always say my gifts aren't for me. They're for me to serve other people. But a lot of times we discount ourselves. We don't see the value in what we can do and what we bring to the table. And then other people don't get to benefit from our brilliance. So I'm all about, showing up in your brilliance, shine, show up, be there, be present, because someone needs you exactly the way you are, the way I am. Again, I always say I'm not for everybody, but I am for somebody. And my job is to serve, to use my gifts to serve who I'm meant to serve. And so that is the crux of the book. After each chapter, there is an exercise to do, a little, activity to do to kind of help hone in on that particular idea or concept that I'm trying to talk about in the book. So it's not just something you read, it's also something you can do, that you can be reflective on, and to really take a look at your life. But I just don't think we take enough time to do that.
Yeah. So my burning question, and I've been sitting on it for a minute, by the way. It's a burning one.
Okay.
Does your high school English teacher know about this book?
He does not. He passed away many
Oh,
years ago. I know different people ask me that, and I did go like, but he he passed away many years ago. But yeah, so since I published the book, which was it was in 2018, I've been back to my high school for a couple of different activities or whatever, and I just kind of silently said to him like, "Look, see."
as you should, as you should. I'm sure he's somewhere getting the message. Yeah.
Yeah,
I still think it's a powerful story because adults need to see how much their words to children and students matter.
absolutely.
And if you hadn't, I mean, you're doing amazing work, and maybe that limiting thing he said to you was a superpower, showing up to kind of push you along.
Yeah,
But the other question is maybe you would have started believing in yourself even earlier had he not had that influence. So I know things work out as they are supposed
yeah.
to, and that you're brilliant now because of his gift, for lack
Right,
of better words. I
right.
still hate that he tried to thumb you down like that. It's probably more of a when adults do that to children and students, it's usually all about their stuff, you know?
It is all about
Anyway,
their stuff. That had nothing to do with me. And not until, of course, I've done this work that not only him, but other family members and friends and teachers, all, just throughout my life, I took on a lot of other people's stuff that they projected on me. But it wasn't until I became an adult that I realized that that was the case. So, and that's the case for a lot of us. We still carry the wounding, the words, the hurtful things that people have said and done to us. And that's why we need to do this work. That's why we need to really look within and say, well, oh, that person may say, oh, you're dumb, you're stupid. But what do you think about you? You know what I mean? Like, do you think you're stupid or dumb? Or you think you're not smart? Because at the end of the day, here's what I know for sure. It's really not what other people say to us that determine what we do. It's what we say to ourselves. And I keep saying my next book is going to be called Conversations with Myself. Those are the most important conversations because here it is. I've had other people in my life to say to me, oh, you're smart, you're brilliant, you're talented, but you don't own it. And because it was what I was telling myself about myself. I didn't just hear negative stuff in my life. I've heard a lot of positive. I had a lot of people in my life pouring really good things to me, starting with my parents. My mom and my dad was awesome with that. And so I had a choice. We have a choice like, what are we going to listen to? Who are we going to believe? And so it was what I chose to say to myself. And it's like, well, yeah, I am smart enough. I am okay. Yes, writing it's a challenge for me, but I'm brilliant in these other areas as well. And so it's the conversations we have with ourselves that makes the difference. And so that's why I ask people, what are you telling you? When you make a mistake, what do you say to you? Are you criticizing yourself? Are you putting yourself down? Are you continuing the negative things that someone else said to you? So that's what I help women to really discover. Who are you for you? What are you saying to you about you? I say we could be some of the worst critics to ourselves. Why not be your best cheerleader instead of your worst critic? Again, what is going on inside that we're telling ourselves? Because again, there are going to be people in our lives who are very negative, but there are people in my life who've been very positive. But I make a choice in what I choose to listen to. The choice is always mine. And so that is why tell people you have to stand in your own personal power. What are you standing on? What are you standing for? I just think about so many different times in my life, even as a teenager, I had to make choices about who was I going to listen to, which direction I was going to go. One of my favorite stories is high school, ninth grade. I never forget. There was this guy who liked me, and I wanted him to like me too. It was a boy, you know. And so I had to make a choice of whether or not I was going to dumb down for him to like me. That was a choice. That was a decision I had to make. And I was like, no way. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to not do my work and be smart just because this guy has a problem with that. I'm not going to do that. So that was a choice I had to make. And I stood in my own power, And when I tell that story, people are like, what happened? I was like, he ended up being my boyfriend. He came to his senses. Yeah, but we were in the same math class. I took an 11th grade math class in the ninth grade. And he couldn't understand, why are you in my math class? You're in the ninth grade. He was in the 11th grade. I was like, because I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, why aren't you in college yet?
like, like, but yeah, I remember that so vividly. Like, he could not understand, like, why are you in my math class? It's because I belong here and I'm smart enough to be here. And I'm going to do my work. If you decide, he didn't speak to me for like 2 weeks when he realized I was in his class. I was like, sorry, dude. And
I
so,
love
but
that.
we all have those moments where we have to make a choice. We have to say, I'm going to stand for me, whether you agree with it or like it or not. This is what's best for me. It was best that I did well in that class. And I did.
Well, now that you put the next title of your book out into the universe,
Okay.
and
Thanks.
I know this will air late summer, early fall, so you've got
Uh-huh.
some time. You got some time here. I know like time goes quickly. Anyway, you mentioned the title, so I think you need to claim it and start writing it because people might be so inspired by this title, they might try to have that same title. Help
Right.
encourage. That's just to help encourage you to get it out there.
Thank you. I needed that push and that accountability.
And as you know, like there's always more than one way to get things done. That's using our brilliance.
Yeah.
So having a book coach, having
Yeah.
editors, all that, they exist to be helpful. So it's okay to use that help.
I am a book coach now.
What?
I know. I am. Yes. After I did my book,
I didn't see that in the
I know,
thing.
I know.
And
So some things I forgot to include in my bio.
yeah,
I
I
am a
guess you
book
can
coach.
only write so many things.
Right. I'm only keeping it short. Yeah. But to my experience with my book coach, which was not the best, I'll just leave it at that. After I wrote my book, someone came to me and was like, "Hey, how did you do that?" And I was like, had a book coach, and they were like, "Can you help me?" And I was like, "Okay." So I told myself I try to be the book coach that I didn't have. I try to be what I wanted and what I needed. So right now, currently, as we speak, I have a client whose book is going to come out, in this, I think in February, we're looking at February of next year. But yeah, I've helped at least 6 people write their books already. All of them been bestsellers. One is a college professor. Her book is being used on college campuses. So yeah, I decided to do that because I wanted to support other people on the journey on the way I wasn't supported. And so I'm a book coach. I'm a
Okay,
book
so
coach as well.
what is it that you don't do then?
A
Okay,
lot.
I want to know more about your business coaching. So I know as part of that is the book coaching. But what is,
Yes.
I've had a few business coaching over the years, a few different people, and they have
Yeah.
their own little specialties. What is it that you kind of focus on?
Focus on One of my focus is leadership in business. Like, what kind of leader are you? So let me back up. I start with personal development. And it's like, again, what do you want to focus on? Some of my clients just want to focus on starting a business. I've helped some to start their business and to launch that. Other ones just want to work on themselves in terms of maybe making a transition from one job to another, promoting themselves. Another client comes to me, again, all under the umbrella of personal development. They need help with self-care. That's a big thing that I promote, is self-care for highly successful women. Because a lot of women, we just don't take care of ourselves. And so a lot of the workshops I do, I just hosted my first international wellness retreat a few months ago. I'm looking to do another one because, again, that all kinds go into personal care, personal development. How are you showing up for you? A lot of these women have great jobs. They don't necessarily want to leave their job or leave their company, but they want to do it better. They're stressed out. They're burned out. They're not fulfilled anymore. They're showing up in a powerful way, but they're empty. And it's because they're not taking care of themselves. So I had a group of about 8 women to come along with me. And we spent 4 days just pouring, like, just working, like, what is it you want? Is this still what you want? Do you need to take a breather? how do you need to do work differently? How do you need to work-life balance differently? So I do a lot with self-care and wellness because again, how you can't take care of other people, you're not taking care of yourself. And a lot of times we try to do that. And that was my story. I was burned out. I was tired. I wasn't fulfilled. This was just a few years ago. As a speech therapist, we mentioned that I had to work through COVID, and it was very stressful and was very taxing on me spiritually, mentally, financially, emotionally. And I did not take good care of myself during that period of time. And after it was kind of over, we got some breathing, things started opening back up. That's when I said, never again will I allow myself to be so depleted in trying to serve other people. But we do that all the time. And so that's why I created the wellness retreat, not just for them, but for me. I was like, we need to pull back. We need to pour into ourselves. No phones, no emails, no family, just you taking time for you. And it was truly, truly an amazing experience. And I'm committed to doing more of that. And so, again, to answer your question, personal development could be working on yourself, your self-care. It could be you're becoming a better leader. It could be starting your own business. I've helped several women launch their own private practices because they had worked jobs for a while, but it was like, I'm ready to do it differently. I'm ready to do it for myself. Okay, well, let's launch that. And so that's what I love doing because, again, that's been my story. I started my own private practice 18 years ago, and I know the journey. I know the pitfalls. I know the struggles, but I also know the triumphs in that as well. And I'm here to support women who want to do that as well.
I think that's such a powerful testimony. I'm one of those who overserved others during COVID and
Oh, I know. Yeah.
underserved. It was truly depleting
Yes.
because I kept saying, I just got to catch up. I just got to, if I take care of all the people on my wait list, if I take care of them, then I can breathe. But it didn't slow down. It just kept getting more and more referrals until the point you just have to say no, you know. But yeah, I was working crazy, crazy hours, no breaks. It was
Yeah.
nutso.
I can only imagine. I had a couple of friends who were also mental health professionals, and they were to the max. They were just I mean, for a while. And it was like, but there was such a need, and you want to help people. But
Exactly.
you get to a point where, I mean, I was literally exhausted. Again, I'm working primarily with young children. And during that particular time, schools were shut down and my office was still open. And I was the reprieve for a lot of parents and children. And so they came in with a lot of energy, a lot of anxiety. I mean, the parents did as well. And so bringing all of it and taking all of that in, it was a lot. It was a lot. And so, but again, it just made me more aware of how I need to take care of myself much better in the process. I've gotten much, much better, but still on the journey. And so I just want to support women who I know, are overgiving, overbooked, overstressed, and burned out, and not really giving to the capacity that I know they want to give because I was a little cranky at times and, you know,
Of
short
course.
with people and tired and sleepy. And that's just wasn't my best self. And so I'm just learning to do it differently and better this time around.
We learned some lessons during that time. So
Absolutely.
as you know, Dr. Denise, the audience I serve are women that are survivors.
Yeah.
What and so part of being a survivor, usually most survivors are not well balanced. Not that true balance doesn't really exist. But what I
Right.
mean by that is there's a lot of all or nothing thinking.
Mm.
There's either depression or revved up high anxiety. There's overeating or not eating at all. There's sleeping all the time or not sleeping at all. Given that, one of the things, coping skills for trauma is the overdoing, the overworking. And so what would be the first step that you would say to a survivor who's doing that full max, like how would you introduce them to the self-care practices when that's been their coping skill? They're like, hey, I'm not doing drugs. Hey, I'm not eating everything in the fridge. I'm just working.
Oh, I can so relate. Oh, oh my God. And I think for me, I can't speak for other people how, I mean, it became this thing like you said, the either or in my life, like either this or, and I learned to say, what about and? I
Mm.
can have, it's not either or, it's and. I can take care of myself and take care of other people. I can have a job that I love and go have some fun. So that's the new thing for me. It's an and. It used to be either or. I gotta work real hard, hustle, or I'm just not gonna do anything. Like, no, you can do both, because I used to be like really, I mean, a big people pleaser. Like had to please the world, but I wasn't happy. So now I can say I can be happy and serve other people. It doesn't have to be either or. We take it to the extremes. I know I used to as well. But it's like I can have my life I want and be there for other people. And so for me, right now, my mother, she's been ill for a while. And so of course I want to be there for her in a way. And we live hours away. So I was like, I want to be there for her, but I want to take care of me too. you know? So how do I was like, take care of me first. What do I need to do to make sure I'm good? And then go take care of my mom. It's not an either or. It's not like I got to neglect myself for her and I don't have to neglect her for me. I don't. I've learned how to me, that's the balance of putting the and not the or. It's just that simple. Like, how can you still work and do what you need to do and enjoy your life? You know, it's not, it doesn't have to be one extreme to the other. Get your rest, but also do some work too. you know, I used to be a workaholic. I used to work literally 6 days a week with speech therapy. Literally. I know I had a full-time job and a part-time job, and I worked on weekends. And I was like, what do you, and then didn't have any fun. So one of the first life coaches I had, she's like, what do you do for fun? What do you do for recreation? I was like, nothing. I'm like, I had no fun. I thought it was all work, 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 or play, 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 play. And she was like, I'm gonna need you to get some recreation and some fun in your life. And so now I do, now my weekends or like, what am I going to do? What kind of, I purposely have to be intentional about working, yes, but also having some fun. Taking care of myself, yes, but okay, let me go take care of my family. I was with one of my sisters last week and she had surgery. She asked me to come and be with her for a few days, right? And when she made the request, she asked me, could I come like all week? And I said, no, I can't be there with you all week because I need to do some things for me. What I can do is come on Thursday and stay for a few days. That I can do. And so I'm taking care of me and I'm taking care of her. It's not either or for me anymore. And so I don't know if that answers the question. I don't know if that's
Sure, it
something that
did.
people can help with, but that's how I've been able to be better for myself, Yeah, even with my scheduling, when I'm scheduling clients for my practice or even for my personal development clients. Even like I said, I have a book coaching client right now. She asked me to meet on a certain day. I was like, that doesn't work for me. But this does, because there's some things I need to do for me on that day, but I'm willing to work with you on this particular day. Does that work? Yes. So I'm able to do what I need to do for her, for me, and for her. It's the and for me now. So I think if we kind of take that approach, that might be helpful in helping us to not be to one extreme to the other.
Oh, I really love that. So this will be my final question because we're
Okay.
going over.
Okay.
So I hope you have an answer.
Okay. I hope so too.
I wonder how hard or easy this will be.
Okay.
Okay, so I really love that but I guess I'm not clear on how you got there, how you stopped being one way or the other, how you added that and like how did that happen?
Through conversations with my coach, but also here's the biggest thing. This is to me, this stuff is simple but profound. It's making a decision.
Hmm.
It's make a decision
Just
that this is
deciding.
what you're going to do. It's just that simple. I decided that I need to take care of me and serve other people. That was a decision I made. Like, wait a minute, how can, and because at one point when I was, on this thing about self-care, I got to take care of myself. I did kind of stop taking care of other people. I was like, it's just all about me right now. And I was like, but that didn't feel good either because I still want to serve other people. I still want to be there for my family, for my friends, for my clients. And so it's like, oh, you can do both. You can do both. We think we can't. We have the capacity to do both. And so, but now I make myself a priority. I don't make other people a priority. I make, what do I need? What do I need to take care of me? Get me good. And then how can I go serve other people? And this has been going on probably since the whole COVID thing. And I was like, I can't let myself get that depleted ever again. And so I made a decision, but I would not do that ever again to myself. And again, it's a decision that we make. It's a conversation I had with myself. Like, what are you doing? What are you going to do differently? Because you cannot continue this way ever again. It's just not going to work. And so I was like, I'm going to take care of people. Yeah, I'm going to take care of me too. But I'm going to take care of me first. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the things that make me happy, that light me up, that I'm having fun with, all those kind of things. And then, hey, go do it for other people that, you want to do. So that's been my approach lately. It's been working. I hope it continues to work. If I discover something else, I'll let you know. But that's
Please.
what I have for now.
No, I think it's
Starts with a decision.
beautiful.
Starts with a decision.
It fits into how I see the world too. Like, I'll have a client that will say to me, how do I stop lying? You decide to stop lying. How do I stop cheating on my spouse? You keep your pants on. You decide to keep your pants on. We don't have to overcomplicate some things. You can just decide. Are you laughing at me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, yeah. Like, because I thought you were gonna say something profound, but like, oh, what's she gonna say? What's she telling them? Like, okay, stop doing that. Like, because, like, yeah,
Making this decision just to stop.
right. And I laugh because I say that to kids sometimes too. Like, some of the children I'm working with, they'll do something like, oh, this is hurting my finger. Like, well, stop doing that. Hurt your finger. Like, stop slamming your finger. Just do that. So it's so true that we forget sometimes. We try to make things so deep and profound and prolific. It's just that simple as making a decision to do it or not do it. I love it.
That's the only time I'm able to exercise, is I just decide to do it. Like, if I wait until I feel like it or feel motivated, I'll be waiting.
Oh, yeah.
So everything comes down to a decision. So to me, that was a perfect. And what a gift for people to hear you today, because I think what you said about the self-care and putting you first, it's really the only way to do it, because once we start serving others, it's hard to know where that line is.
Ooh, yeah.
And you could keep going and going and going. If you serve yourself first, sort of that oxygen mask concept on the airplane,
Absolutely.
then you're able to really help people and not feel depleted. Like, it can let you up. So I think that's huge.
I mean, I sometimes use the example of the oxygen mask on the airplane. I mean, they don't think that's selfish for you to put your mask on first and then assist someone else. They know that if you don't have enough oxygen flowing to you, you're going to pass out and you're not going to be good for anybody. And so a lot of us have passed out or are passing out because we have not been oxygenated. We have not been giving ourselves the nutrients, the nourishment that we need to live and survive and to help other people. And so that is the best example we can ever use, is put your oxygen mask on first and then put someone else's on.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being with me today. I feel like this was a super helpful conversation for survivors to listen to gain some of your wisdom. So thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I truly enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening in today. Please join us next week, same day and time. Also, I would love for you to check out my website, healthrivedream.com.